Hello guys, welcome to another GizChina Germany review. This time it's all about the Cubot X11, and this phone is rather interesting because at the very first look it might not seem like a very attractive device because it still features a, well, rather old MT6592 octa-core SoC with 32 bits made by MediaTek. And well, the price might seem a little high at about 170 to 180 bucks for a phone without LTE, 32-bit and likes. But actually, this phone is pretty impressive. And well, I thought the same, that it wouldn't be impressive and stuff. But actually, I was at least partially blown away by it. And well, in this review, I'm going to tell you why. So first I want to mention the specs. As mentioned, this phone comes with the MT6592 SoC, which is clocked at 1.4 GHz in case of this phone. It also has 2 GB of RAM, 16 GB of internal memory, a 5.5-inch 720p display. And well, one of the most outstanding features of this device is that it actually is waterproof, at least to a certain degree, and we also have a pretty good camera inside of there, which allegedly is based on the Sony IMX214 sensor. I'm not sure if this is true, but actually the camera is really good, as you will see later on. So regarding the waterproofing of the device, I have to tell you a quick story. I actually got 2 devices already of the Cubot X11. The first one got destroyed by me accidentally. Because at first they claimed the phone to be completely waterproof, so you can dip it into water for an unlimited time and it will still survive. Well, I've tested that numerous times, and the biggest test was the phone being put underwater for 7 minutes, and that's quite a long time, and actually it survived it. But on the next day I've spotted some water below the glass panel of the screen, so obviously something got inside. I tried to dry that in the oven at 50 degrees Celsius. Well, most of the time it works. This time it didn't. The water vapor probably touched something it shouldn't touch, and well, the phone went dead afterwards. So actually the phone I killed was a pre-production sample, and meanwhile the Cubot X11 is available, and Cubot sent me a replacement device for review, and they also changed the IP certification, so now it's not fully waterproof anymore, but it's it will survive water drops and water jets from any angle and for whatever time you like. You just shouldn't dip it inside water anymore. But actually it will survive short dips into water, so don't worry too much about that, just don't dip it into water for too long. So that's about the story. Let's get into the review right now, and for this I put the phone away quickly so we can have a look at the packaging and the accessories you get with the Cubot X11. So the Cubot X11 actually is delivered in this box, which does look rather nice. We have the Cubot logo in silver letters on here, and also some keep in touch imprint, which actually is engraved into the material, looking really nice, feeling really nice. So they definitely put some thoughts in there. On the rear we find the Cubot X11, some specs, and the CE sign, which is important for Europe. Once we pull the box open, we find the wrap the phone is protected in when you unbox it for the first time, so that's actually very similar to Apple products. And below you see this little flap, and on there we have a very nice image of the phone showing you where you find which part of the phone, the power button, display volume button, and the stuff. Well, you actually probably know that, but well, they put some thought inside there, try to do things a little different from other manufacturers. Below this flap you find 2 more compartments which contain the actual accessories, and I'm going to show you those right now. I've already taken them out of the box. First of all, you get a quick start guide, and this one is really well done. Very nice printing quality, very nice cover design. We have pictures of the phone inside of there on every page, showing you a drawing of the UI, showing you what to do, what is shown, what is explained and stuff. And the most amazing part, this manual is multi-language, and we have the description of each page in multiple languages on every page. As you can see here, we have English, German, Spanish and all that stuff on here, and actually the translation is really professional. I really like that. They really put some attention into the user menu here, which is very unlikely for Chinese phones. Other stuff you get is, of course, a micro USB data transfer cable. You also get one charging adapter, which actually has a localized plug for German sockets in my case. And this one is actually not a cheap power supply. It's a pretty quality one that I actually do use, and it has CE and everything, and it doesn't get very hot, so definitely good quality, and it shouldn't be dangerous at all. Another thing you get is a screen protector for the device. This is not a matte one, just the protection of the protector is matte. And you also get a silicone bumper to protect the rear of the phone from scratches, which actually is made from glass. Talking about the design already, well, let's move to the phone. This is how it looks, and as you can see, this is a really premium looking device, and this actually explains why it's priced at 160 bucks or 180 bucks at a maximum right now. Actually, this phone is just amazing for the price. The design and build quality alone is totally worth the money you pay for this one. Just look at this. We have a beautiful glass front, we have a front camera, the speaker sensors, a status LED is present as well. We don't have any touch buttons here this time, those are on-screen buttons. But thanks to this, the height of the phone got a little less, and we also can touch the phone here without doing something to the operating system. Well, as you can see, the side is completely made from metal, and this is not just a thin metal frame, this is one part with the chassis. And it actually is a very thick metal, not just this thin, crappy metal frame you know from the Elephone P7000, for example. If I pull out the protector of the SD card slot, you see that how thick the metal actually is. This is a very tough one. You actually can't bend it at all. You really can put a lot of force on this. Nothing is going to happen. Doesn't bend a single millimeter. That's simply insane. So really high build quality, really love it. One thing I dislike a bit is that the headphone jack is on the left side. I would have preferred that to be on the upper side, obviously, but well, I can live with that, I think. We also have a volume rocker here, which has a very nice pressure point. It doesn't move at all. It's also made from metal. The lower side contains the media speaker of the device, one little hole for the microphone and one micro USB port. The other side again contains a button, this time to turn the phone on and off, and we also have another flap covering the SIM slots, and we have an infrared blaster at the top, so you can actually use that to control your television. I for myself didn't manage to use it, but others did. I don't know if my infrared port is broken or if I'm just doing something wrong. Whatever it is, it didn't work for me, but it definitely did for others. And as you can see, the rear is also made from glass, and that's looking really premium and elegant in my opinion. We also have a camera, and as you can see, another outstanding thing about this device is a dual LED dual tone flash, which is very unusual at this price level. We also have a nice silver Cubot logo here again, and we have the ROHS and CE markings designed by Cubot in China, and even the frequencies, the supported frequencies are printed on there. So design-wise and build quality-wise, this phone is very impressive, especially at this price point. I'd really like to see Cubot building some high-end device, because I'm curious to see what they can do to a phone priced at 300 bucks, for example, when they can do something like this with 160 to 180 bucks. This is what you pay for the device right now, once again. So the next thing I want to talk with you is the screen, and 5.5 inches at 720p. often don't sound like something impressive, but if the panel is good, 720p actually can be enough even at 5.5 inches. I mean, obviously you will see pixels if you come close, but under normal viewing distance you won't notice pixels even at this comparably low resolution. Now for the Cubot X11, the manufacturer actually went for a brand panel made by JDI, and it's not just a standard LCD OGS panel, it's an in-cell display. This means that you have one glass layer less, which actually is the reason why this phone is so thin, despite a pretty large battery being inside of there. So actually the screen isn't bad at all. It's a pretty good screen, very good contrast, nice and natural colors. Brightness could be a little bit higher maybe, but it's still okay, you still can read stuff outside. The viewing angles are not perfect, but still acceptable in my opinion. And well, if I come close, sharpness and everything does look very nice too. So all in all, the screen isn't bad at all, and I also like the digitizer of it. It's very snappy, very responsive, very sensitive. I don't need to put much pressure on it. It could be a little more slippery. Gliding my finger across it, breaking it a little bit, but not much. Well, it could be better, but still nothing you couldn't live with. So screen-wise, Cubot again did a pretty good job on there. So what about hardware and software? Well, I told you initially we have the MT6592 octa-core chipset running on there, and it's got 2 GB of RAM, and well, the MT6592 never got past Android 4.4.2 KitKat till now. I think MediaTek actually going to release Lollipop sources someday for it. I think it's in July or something where the deadline will end. I don't know if Cubot will issue a Lollipop update anytime soon. I hope they will do, but it's not really necessary because we don't have a 64-bit processor in there, which isn't supported in KitKat. And well, anyway, Android 4.4.2 is still not outdated, I think. So well, it's basically a stock Android. We don't have any customizations on there. The launcher, which you have seen initially, is installed by me, so that doesn't come pre-installed with the device. The operating system is running very well in my opinion. It's pretty smooth considering the old SoC and very responsive, very snappy. I like that. Doesn't have any bugs and the likes. Nothing to complain about here except one thing we don't have off-screen gestures. This is something I really would have liked to see with this device. Otherwise, the system is pretty good. So what's with performance in terms of the SoC? It really depends on what you need. If you just use basic applications, I mean social media, YouTube, the internet browser, a picture gallery, the camera, email clients and that stuff. But don't play 3D games. The MT6592 will be fine for you. It will have sufficient performance for you. You won't have any issues running your apps. Also with multitasking and 2 GB of RAMs, there won't be any issues. The issues start when you try to play games on this SoC. Older games partially work. Dead Trigger 2, for example, at middle graphic settings, medium graphic settings works pretty well. Things get different with Real Racing 3, which does lag significantly. And well, games like Modern Combat 5, for example, are completely unplayable. So this phone is definitely not for gamers. If you want to play games, look elsewhere. Go for a phone with a MT6752 or MT6795 SoC or some Qualcomm chipset. But as I said, if you just run basic applications and stuff, this SoC still is sufficient for you in terms of performance. So the next thing to mention is audio quality, and here I have been pretty impressed because the Cubot X11 actually has a speaker in the metal frame here, and we all know that Chinese phones with such speakers often sound a little crappy, or Chinese phones in general at this price range. But surprisingly, that's not the case here. I don't want to say it's a high-end speaker because it's obviously not, but it definitely doesn't sound bad. You really can listen to music with it if you don't want to use headphones right now or something. It has a decent bass playback, pretty good volume, doesn't distort, so it's very usable. Really like that speaker inside of there. I've definitely seen much worse speakers. A little disappointing to me was the headphone jack quality. It's loud and everything, no background noises, but it somehow lacks bass. It doesn't play basses at all, basically. You can do a workaround here by rooting the device and installing some audio enhancer, for example Viper for Android or Dolby Atmos. In this case it will sound good, but out of the box it doesn't, and well, to me this suggests that we have some software issue going on here, so Cubot definitely needs to optimize something there. Regarding reception quality, I again have pretty much nothing to complain about here. It just works perfectly. 2G, 3G reception, absolutely no issues. 2G and 3G might probably not be at high-end level, but it comes very close. I never had any issues getting a proper 3G connection. You see, I even have 3G inside this room, which often is a problem, especially with phones inside the sub $200 range. And also Wi-Fi works just perfectly fine despite all the metal around here. Let me just show you that we have lots of networks being recognized here, and well, I'm connected to the router behind of me, one wall in between right now, and this Linksys router you see here is actually downstairs, one floor below me. So very good reception quality. We still have 3 signal bars here, which is pretty good. Really like reception quality here, and GPS is outstanding, which was a huge surprise for me because the old 32-bit MediaTek chipsets are known for superior GPS performance. They actually don't support GLONASS and that stuff, but just GPS and HGPS, and most phones with those SoCs sucked in terms of GPS. But this phone is a real proof for the fact that it's mostly up to the antennas if a phone has good GPS reception quality or not, and not really up to the SoC. It's partially up to the SoC, but not entirely. So even with the MT6592 chipset, you can get proper GPS reception quality, and this one really blew me away. You get pretty much instant fixes upon enabling GPS, and you get a very high signal strength for single satellites, resulting not only in a very high accuracy, but also reduces the times you are without any GPS signal. GPS test application displayed like 40 points for the signal strength of single satellites, and not only one satellite but several satellites. So that's pretty impressive actually. And navigation and tracking really isn't any problem with this device. Tracking at least with Google My Tracks, because with some tracking apps, those old MediaTek SoCs seem to have some issues where the accuracy goes nuts. Anyway, with most applications and navigation, it's working totally fine, so really impressed here. So I already mentioned in the beginning that the camera of the Cubot X11 is really good, and well, I'm going to prove that to you right now. Look at those demo pictures, they are pretty good. So we have a 30 megapixel rear camera here and an 8 megapixel front camera. The rear camera actually can be interpolated to 16 megapixels, which is quite a lot. Now, as I said, Cubot mentioned to me that the sensor inside of there is a Sony IMX214 sensor. I'm not sure if this is true, but actually the pictures look very good in terms of colors, in terms of details, depth of field, and so on. So it might actually be true that they used a Sony IMX214 sensor inside of there, though I haven't been able to verify that. Also, the autofocus is working very fast and very good, and well, it's just fun taking pictures with this camera. Low light performance is very good as well. We almost have no noise in a low light environment. The LED flash is extremely bright. It has no issues lighting up even large rooms. That's again a huge pro. I was a little disappointed with the video quality though, which definitely could be better, but that may be due to the software, so probably some over-the-air update is going to fix those issues. But right now, videos just don't look as good as pictures do. The front camera is pretty good as well, though not at high-end level, but definitely okay for those of you who want to take selfies and don't need a perfect quality. And well, for video, telephony and all that stuff, it's fine, of course. So that's about camera. Regarding the battery, we have a 2850 mAh cell inside of there, which actually is quite a lot considering the price tag and how thin this phone is. And yep, actually the capacity of this device is true, and you get a pretty good battery life out of it. I for myself got throughout the day easily with one charge, sometimes even into the late night. No issues here. And well, the Geekbench battery test also certifies a pretty good battery life to the Cubot X11 with over 8 hours of screen on time, which is pretty impressive in my opinion. Those of you not throwing high-end usage or very intense usage onto the phone probably get throughout more than one day. For me, it never lasted more than one day, but it's still okay. Charging, however, takes very long here, 3.5 to 4 hours. It's pretty much because this one doesn't have fast charging. But well, if it lasts for one day, you can charge at night, so no problem at all here. So here's my final conclusion about the Cubot X11. It might not be the most up-to-date phone, but let's be honest, not everyone needs the most or the latest technology inside a phone. Not everyone needs LTE, not everyone needs superior performance, not everyone needs 64-bit. Let's face that. And still, it might seem somehow expensive at a maximum price tag of around $180, but actually the amazing build quality, the sturdiness of the phone, the pretty good software, the good camera, the good battery life, and the, well, more than acceptable screen make up for that high price tag and actually make the phone worth this money in case you can live with the aforementioned missing stuff. So if you are within the target group of people Cubot aims at with this device, I can really recommend you having a closer look at this device and buy it. I see no reason why anyone who doesn't need LTE and that stuff wouldn't like this device. I mean, even I like this device, even though I was very skeptical at first. And let's face it, if you do outdoor activity and stuff, this phone will come handy because it survives contact with water. It's very sturdy. Well, it's just a very solid and good phone in my opinion. So that's about the review. I hope I was able to help you. So if you liked the review, please leave a comment, a thumbs up, and maybe subscribe to the channel if you like what we do in general on GizChina Germany. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Google+, Twitter, and YouTube. If there are any questions left that haven't been answered to you inside this video, make sure to ask them down below in the comments. So you will now receive a performance demo, and I say bye, over and out.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. fall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.